what a strong start for the Fuel.
This is looking fantastic for the Gladiators.
Effect going wild at the end of this round.
Costa, he's getting pretty hyped up.
Insane.
That's the difference maker. Surefire coming in big in the end.
Nice. Again, that combo between Mickey and Seagull.
And this should be the turning point here for Dallas.
Dallas is there, ready to capitalize. How does he hit these hooks?
And this is where we see the high-quality Overwatch, everybody. And we are back live from the Blizzard Arena. This is the final Friday in Stage 1. And we have a great show for you once again. Welcome back, everyone. I am your host, Chris Puckett. Glad to be back at the desk after an awesome day off. But to be honest, guys, I took the wrong day off. We got Bren, we've got Crumb, Zoe with us once again. And yesterday was an insane day when you look at the standings.
It was. You definitely did take the wrong day off. Boston needed a 4-0, and you know what? They got it over the Philadelphia Fusion. And that Houston against London match at the end of the day was absolutely nuts.
Let's look at the league standings after those two upsets, as we put in air quotes. You can see the shakeup. London knocked down to that number 2 spot. Houston jumps into number 3. Bren, walk me through the rest.
Yeah, this is absolutely crazy because all of these games are mattering in terms of they're going to be shifting up these teams up and down the playoff standings. We will not have a definite answer until tomorrow's games. These games need to play out, and honestly, it's going to affect so much.
It's time to look at today's schedule. A lot of these teams are going to be impacted with today's results, and it all starts at 6 p.m. for me, Crumb. Seoul, their playoff run, it's not over yet. They still have a chance, but they have to be perfect. Same can be said about the Valiant.
Not only do they have to be perfect, but they actually have to rely on their opponents also dropping a certain amount of games, so their Seoul Dynasty, against all odds, are not in complete control of their destiny.
We're starting our first match right now. Please put your hands together for the two teams looking to right the ship, starting with the Los Angeles Gladiators. A soft golf clap coming in from Surefire and crew as the Gladiators mount their way on this stage. Now this team is coming in with a 4-5 record, and they're looking to finish week 5 at 2-0. They came off a big win over the Shock. That one went 3-1.
The signs today are on point, but who else has been on point is the DPS from this team. It's really what's been carrying them so far. Surefire, we gave him the player of the game last time they faced off, and they're going to have Hydration starting because we have Eichenwald as one of the first maps. So this team, look out for their strong DPS play to be the pillar of their success.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Surefire as well, because this guy is often characterized as a jack of all trades, master of none, but not the case, to be honest. In the games we've seen of him, he has been turning up quite significantly on the Tracer, on various other roles, the Junkrat. The guy has been flexing over to all sorts of different damage-dealing heroes, and he's been doing a phenomenal job of it.
Yeah, but really, if you want to talk about a player who has been consistent, Hydration is your guy to look out for. He's been a key factor in pretty much every good map they played.
Hydration, keep your eyes on that man from the Gladiators. It's now time to bring out his opponent, though. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the Dallas Fuel. Taimu leading the charge. What hero will he play today? That is the question on everyone's mind.
It's just Taimu. It's just Taimu. He knows it. He knows he's going to be carrying this game. Look at this.
Oh no, here comes the chips.
Where's that fist going?
I thought it was going to be like...
Mercy, there comes the rest. Oh my God, Taimu is alive.
The Hog is back in action. More hooks are coming in. And now Taimu is coming in today very confident.
He is. I want to quote a tweet Taimu actually tweeted within the last 24 hours. I have to beep out some words here. Fudge, it's tomorrow. We gonna clap the fecal matter out of the Gladiators. There is no ifs inside my head anymore. That's a very confident Taimu tweet, considering that one of their best player effect is not in the lineup.
Almost word for word there, so he
Almost
nailed
word
it.
for word.
Almost, and this is why I'm so excited for this game, because I want to see the old Moo coming out. I want to see the man who was popping off heads, taking names, making people scared of him in the DM servers. This is the time I want to see, and he's promised it. You know, he said on Twitter he's going to be performing. He's going to be absolutely demolishing it. Easy clap in the chat.
You are easy to convince. Just the tweet is all it takes. He did have the animation. The team seems to be rallying behind him, kind of welcoming his return. It's just a matter of actually putting up the results. If he does it today, then we'll know he's back.
One face that is not in the lineup, as you guys saw, is Effect, and he has been a star for this lineup on the Tracer role. With Effect not in the lineup, Timu, or aka Taimu, as well as Seagull in those DPS roles. What does that mean for the Dallas Fuel? What can they do in terms of comps?
Well, it means they're not going to have a Tracer, right? You don't have a Tracer player in Taimu, you don't have a Tracer in Seagull, but you do have to be playing against a Tracer from the Gladiators. So what that means is that we're most likely going to see a lot more Junkrat as a good answer to the Tracer, just a bomb with a Mercy, you kill it, and then McCree from Taimu. So they do have options. It's just a matter of not being able to keep the Tracer in check at all points.
Brendan, who do you put Taimu on today? Do you put him on McCree? Do you
Yeah,
see if he
I
can
feel
go?
like we're going to be seeing a little bit of the Taimu McCree, a little bit of the Cowboy coming out to sort of counteract the Tracer play, like you said. You know, Siu can flex over to the Junkrat. As again, you mentioned, you're going to be sort of counteracting the playstyle that Gladiators like to play. But the beauty of Taimu is that when he gets angry, and when he's on the Widowmaker, right, you don't want to make Taimu angry, because that's when he's going to start absolutely destroying everyone on the server. And we haven't seen that recently. I'm not going to lie to you guys. We haven't seen Taimu show it up. But I want to see old Taimu, Season 1 Taimu, Apex Taimu. That's what I want.
We heard, Brad. We'll find out if we see him a little bit later. Let's look at the tanks, though. If you look at both of these lineups, there's been ups, there's been downs, and a lot of fault has been blamed here on the tank play. As we look at today's matchup, Bishu and Remix from the Gladiators. You got Coco and Mickey coming in from the Fuel. Who has the edge?
In my opinion, I mean, in this tank matchups, it's kind of like both of these teams' tank players haven't really been performing on a higher level. Both Gladiators, we pointed out numerous times that they've had issues with their tank plays. They have cleaned it up in recent times, but so have Dallas. And Dallas have been forced to play around compositions that they're a lot more comfortable with. The Orisa Roadhog compositions in general, because Coco isn't as comfortable on the Winston. So it's going to be a very even matchup, but in terms of tank play, I would give it to the Gladiators.
Let's talk about DPS real quick here, Crumbs, as we go through the players. If you look at Gladiators, you got Asher, you got Surefour, you got Hydration, Fuel. They have Taimu, Seagull potentially effectively back in the lineup later in this match. How do you see this one playing out? Who has the edge?
So the Gladiators have shown a much more higher level of consistency than the Dallas Fuel. However, as you just saw on your screen, Dallas Fuel have crazy clutch potential between Taimu and Seagull. If they actually get to recapture their old form, I would not be surprised if they just walk all over the Gladiators, but we just haven't seen any of that all split long, or all stage long rather, so it's going to take some time for me to be convinced that the Dallas Fuel DPS is really back.
So are you saying Gladiators has the edge?
Yeah, I'm saying the Gladiators.
Okay, just making it official. Let's start with you at the end here, Zoe. Who gets the win today? Both squads desperately need another match victory.
Oh man, Puckett. I think, yeah, I'm sorry I'm gonna do this, but I think I have to pull my Swiss card, right? I didn't want to do it all stage one, but I don't know which team is showing up. You know, Gladiators have great performances, really bad performances. Same for Dallas, but I know they all have a high ceiling, so I'm gonna say neutral.
You're from Switzerland. You get one stage.
I get one.
You can use
I got
it
one
today.
Swiss card.
All right,
yeah.
Crumbs, real quick. Where are we going?
I'm going with the Gladiators. I can't just be talking them up and not be backing it up. Until I see the Dallas Fuel not struggle against the Dragons, I'm going to go with the Gladiators in this matchup.
We have some Gladiators fans here in the crowd. Bren, where are you going here?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. I'm going to be going with the Dallas Fuel here. Easy clap. We're going to be seeing them taking a win today. I want to see it right here, right now.
Fighter pilot Bren, you are on point today. He's cheering on Taimu and the Fuel. We'll see if they can get the win. It has to start right here as we send it backstage. Sour and Hex, take it away.
Thank you, Puckett. And yes, Hex, it is going to be a close match, but using the Swiss card now, I'm going to call Zoe out on this. Come on. This is the game where you want to go in, a la Brenji, a la Crumbs. You got to get in there and have an opinion on this one.
Yeah, I mean, this Swiss, notoriously neutral. Good cheese, good chocolate, very wonderful clocks, but overall, not the best decision makers in the world. Not going to take the strongest stand there. I don't know about this one either, though. I mean, I tend to favor the Gladiators just a little bit, but for me, it's a question of, will the real Los Angeles Gladiators please stand up? Because they've played against Philadelphia and they beat them. They played Valiant, one of the top teams in this league, extremely close. And then there's days like, who are these guys? Why did they not come to the stadium today?
They have had some unfortunate results, that's for sure. And they are no longer in the running for the playoffs either. So that is something to keep in mind here. I hold high hopes that we're going to get to see these guys truly unleashed now that there's no pressure on the line. They can really come out here and we're going to get some exciting Overwatch, because really it's only pride for both of these teams at this point. You do not want to lose to the Fuel or to the Gladiators, vice versa.
Gladiators looking to get out of the first stage at 500, which would be nice, keeps them in the running, head above water. Dallas, yeah, I mean, you hit the right term, man. It's pride, and I think they're coming out with a lot of confidence. They're trying to find their identity. If they can pull off an upset against these guys, I mean, it's not a huge upset, but without effect, it becomes a big upset.
I'm just putting it out there right now real quick before all of this kicks off and before memory fades. Fuel win the exit, you know, the entry
Oh, yeah, that was
play.
sick.
Come on, you know, you got the Mayhem, they dabble in the memes, but the Fuel, they burn the brightest in this case. That was a sick one with Chips on the Mercy.
Must have had some professional choreography there because that looked real nice. We'll see what these teams want to run here. It's an identity-making game for both sides. Can the Los Angeles Gladiators prove that they are a good team? Firmly in the middle of the pack, and the Dallas Fuel really just right the ship right now. And going back to one of their original lineups, essentially, and then they're adding Seagull in. What's Seagull going to play? I think that we've seen a very effective composition come out from their Texas counterparts, and that you can run a Junkrat and a Widowmaker at the same time. They work so well together when you're coordinated. You hit a little splash damage, and having a Widow effectively pick off targets like that. Also, if they're worried about having to deal with a Tracer, you can run a Junkrat and a McCree. Tracer has nightmares about facing that composition.
Exactly. It's like the anti-tracer, anti-dive. Just come at us. We got flashbangs. We got mines for days. And so now we get into the thick of it. Hex, it has begun. The Gladiators, the shields are up as they advance, and they are going to be starting as the away team, and so they'll be starting on the offense. Dallas Fuel on the defense here.
Well, Bren's not the only one in his flight jacket, as we're going to get some Top Gun action out of both of these teams. We've got a Pharah v Pharah battle. Seagull versus Hydration in the skies there. Let's see which one comes out Maverick and which one gets goosed.
Seagull already starting strong. He's forcing him back, and he's getting help from his mates as well. The pressure is in, and he's caught in the corner. iRemix in a bit of a tight spot, luckily for him. Big Goose is there to top him up and get plenty of ult charge out of that exchange.
Well, the projectile base composition from the Gladiators, the short force on that Junkrat too, so really it is all up to the Pharah to take the other Pharah down. Meanwhile, Timu's Roadhog could be a decent composition for it. Seagull does take out his counterpart, and Big Goose very close to going down, will fall, and Dallas Fuel opens very strong.
Wow, though. Bishu and Remix working together to take down Chipsay and calling out that he was low. That leaves Seagull exposed, vulnerable, not going to be able to get healed up with that pocket heals up in the sky anymore. So there may be an opportunity here for Los Angeles Gladiators to try and press forward. Oh, as I say that, you just see Surefour disappear. It's like a horror movie. He's there 1 second, gone the next. Where did he go? Where did Surefour go?
Opportunity literally yoinked right out of their hands. Their exit stage right. Here comes a huge tire. Big opportunity. Coco will fall again. He's spent a lot of this first map in spawn so far. Chips will bring him back to life, though. This one is still just a brawl on the point.
Kind of expected almost between both of these teams. They're just going to keep throwing the fight at him. We've got Transcendences getting traded here. Does slightly favor Harry Hook, however. He will be able to keep his teammates alive, and it looks like the defense will hold. Only a tick, one of them, picked up here for Los Angeles Gladiators at the beginning.
Not even one tick. All that progress
really?
is going to revert there. That can be a little hard to tell. But now, after all of that long, protracted fight, less than 2 minutes to go here, Gladiators have a ton to work with. They're going to mix up their composition. Surefour is going to move over to the McCree to try to deal with Ibarra. Hydration gets hooked, but gets out of there with his life. This barrage could be enormous if he can find the right angle.
Oh, shots from above. Hydration in close, but the fortify not going to be enough to keep Coco alive. That's what they need here. One of the big tanks out of the fight. No more barriers here for Dallas Fuel to hide behind. That could make the difference as Hydration is just going to commit to the barrage. Will die, but he should have the res coming in from Big Goose, or at least maybe they can get it. No.
That self-destruct from Mickey didn't get any kills, but it completely cut that team's plan apart. They had to move out. Your Sky threat had to move away, was disconnected from his Mercy for a second. And it's not necessarily about getting kills, it's about disruption. And that's exactly what a self-destruct can do in the right position.
Splits them up. And so Hydration not too pleased about that result, I think. He's going to have to work up to another ult fairly quickly here. He's got 50 seconds left on this clock to do it as well. But we do have some ults racked up for Dallas Fuel. They've got a bit of an edge going into this next fight. The Transcendence used by Shaz to kick things off here for the Gladiators, to ferry his teammates onto the point. But that's down, and Whole Hog gets interrupted immediately.
He goes Big Goose. Big Goose out of this fight. He had Valkyrie at the ready. Chips is still using his Valkyrie, still bringing people back to life. And Dallas, which has put the D in defense before, tries to repeat it again. 20 seconds left, but the cupboard is empty for the Los Angeles Gladiators. I mean, I guess they can come back into the Big Goose since he died early in that fight. That might be their saving grace.
And they get in here quick enough. Or is Seagull gonna hit some long-range rockets? He connects with one there, puts Big Goose on notice. And they're having to run in, they're having to close the distance. Big Goose, another rocket to the face, but he's got Valk, so he'll regen that fairly quickly. And we have the Tracer in play now for Surefour, trying to stay alive on that point, trying to keep his team in this fight. Taimu forcing them once again to be divided.
Well, Big Goose is going to get the resurrection up. Seagull will take down Hydration yet again. He has been winning this dogfight for the most part. Hydration's been outclassed, and that's not where you want to find yourself.
Perfectly done by Seagull. Exactly the target he was looking for, and that is going to be the solid defense here to kick things off on Eichenwald for Dallas Fuel. A hard hold. Gladiators. Well, which Gladiators do we think is going to show up today, Hex? That's the question.
Well, still a little too early to call it here. I'm not pulling a Swiss card. I'm not Swiss. It's way too early to say. Dallas, when they've looked good, their defense has not been the issue. Their defense has played fine. It's about getting the offense going. So they've full held on this map before. Looking like they have something going. On the other side of things, I don't think anyone is happier than Big Goose that we're probably moving away from the Mercy meta. He struggled on it the last couple weeks, dies early a couple times here and there. Just doesn't seem to display the amount of grace and comfort that other Mercies do with Guardian Angel and mobility and positioning. So
Chip Cyan being one of them.
yeah, not a natural Mercy player is Big Goose. We'll see how that affects them going forward. But they would like to get to stage 2 at 5-5.
Just have that under your belt, a little bit of confidence building. We get to have the players in here before they walk out, and it was a bit of that Friday Night Lights speech going on from the coach at the beginning. This is what we worked for. This is what we're earning tonight. You know, it's like, yes, true. Get hype. Pride is on the line here between both of these teams. You want to feel like the practice is paying off, and so there's a bit of that running on this game right now for Gladiators at least.
Gladiators are very much about building a team and building confidence in their teammates. When they do struggle a little bit, it's when they lose that confidence and someone goes for a big hero play. You have to move as one cohesive unit. Your 6-stack has to be a one big team, and that's what they're trying to build on. Trust the man next to you to do his job. Do your job, don't worry about everything else.
A team that's been pretty outspoken about that, especially after last night's performance, was Houston, where, you know, that's been a very big talking point for them, that they trust each other as a unit, trust each other's calls. There isn't really that one caller. Everybody gets to call the shots, and they just trust in it. And I mean, it's been pretty remarkable watching their progression throughout stage 1. A real threat for the playoffs, that team. But now we get into it. They have changed sides. Dallas Fuel now be on the offense. Gladiators on the defense, and as far as the setup is concerned, Surefour and Taimu both on McCree's. I'm excited to see.
Seagull already down, and most notably, Seagull on a Soldier 76. You don't often see him on this map. Not a lot of great purchases, especially on the offense for him to get set up. They're just going for that raw hit scan power. Perhaps they were expecting a Pharah, and you have a McCree in a 76. That Pharah is as good as dead. You might as well just respawn right then and there. Seagull dies for the second time already in this fight, though.
You're not supposed to catch the orbs.
No.
You're not a dog running after the tennis ball, Seagull. You need to dodge those orbs. And so that is going to get the reset, and there we go. We actually get Seagull swapping up to the Junkrat. You know, because one of the other strengths of McCree is that, yeah, you can, or that of Soldiers, that, yeah, you can melt shields, but who melts shields even faster? Just get the Junk into it.
Yeah, and you don't even really have to aim that. You can just, in the general direction of where a shield might be, that shield will already be gone. So they're going to, they're going to try a little different angle here. Mickey just taking free damage up top, but that helps Chips build up. No more free damage they're going to take. They have a pretty decent lead here. Big Goose should get his Valk here. That's when the fireworks will begin, is when the support ultimates are available for both sides.
Chip Cyan, one of the standout Mercies in this league, knows when to pull the trigger, knows when to sprout those wings and start bringing people back from the grave. But just a little bit of the poke game here. Some patience being demonstrated by Dallas, but also on the Gladiator side. Seems very difficult for Dallas to find that pick to start the ball rolling here.
This is a rough spot. I think Dallas should just back out. Do you want to do you want to use your own Valkyrie just to get up to full fighting force? Is not ideal there. Chips will use one Valk just to bring Coco back up. I think they had different designs, and we'll see what Seagull wants to switch to now. Might be time for Pharah.
There you go. And there you go. But you still got Surefour to deal with. Hydration gets the kill on Mickey. That'll delay things further. But again, you're waiting for that second Valk or that second Reds to come up for Chips. And so Mickey dying, not the end of the world. They should be set to get this fight going fairly soon here, Dallas. But yeah, you got Surefour, exactly. As soon as he spots Pharah, target priority changes completely, and he's just going to try to pick her out of the sky.
Yeah, his sense was tingling too. That's why you saw him looking at the sky. He didn't necessarily know that switch was on, but he said that he hadn't seen them in a little bit, so he decides that's exactly where it is. Damage fall off is real, unable to hit those headshots. Taimu, meanwhile, comes in. That's going to force out the resurrection. Big Goose has now used his Valkyrie. If Dallas feels that they're not in the position to counter this, then they should just back off and come in with a game-winning Valk of their own.
This is starting to get a little bit tense. However, a minute and a half left on this clock. We just lost Mickey. We've lost Harry Hook as well. That could be Chip Sayin, but no, Chip Sayin is gone.
I like
it's the
this.
reset. It's the reset. Just wait for it.
Yeah, I like that they're both dead right now, actually, because now they have both support ultimates to come in compared to just Shaz's Transcendent, so they can dueling Transcend. Chip should pop Valkyrie early on just to stay alive, give himself the extra regen and the chain healing in the sky, and then it's just down to the DPS to clean up while you're getting healed. The thing they have to worry about, though, is that Surefour has Deadeye. Nothing is better at taking down a flying Mercy, Valkyrie Mercy, than Deadeye.
Absolutely, but there is going to be the angle, the flank coming in. Taimu with the fan, manages to pick up the one, gets traded by Surefour. Chip Sayin has Val, however, he's out there hunting for him. He's got to bring him back to life.
Surprised that Chips was able to get to Taimu over there. Now that they're back into full force right now, still trying to get the angle on this Orisa down there. Getting very low. Orisa will fall. No more shields. A nice angle taken from Seagull.
Oh, and Shaz just a bit too late on the trance there to keep him in it. Mickey thinking about it, goes for the self-destruct. It drops on the... What? It drops over the corner, but he still gets the kill on Big Goose. This is it. This could be the moment that Dallas Fuel have been waiting for with 19 seconds left on the clock. All they need is one tick. A Seagull destroys Shaz. No more heals left here for the Gladiators. They're making progress. It gets contested at the last second, and Hydration is finally back into the fight, but not for long. This is all on the last man here. Wow, well, Big Goose is out of it. That is it. It is done. Dallas Fuel at the very end managed to pull through for the win.
Not necessarily surprising. It's a good map that they played great defense on before. The Gladiators' offense definitely fell short, but Dallas biding their time. When you have a full hold like that, you know, let's just take an ideal fight. Let's take the perfect fight for us. We only need 33%. Well played, Dallas, able to take the first map.
Definitely showing it. And yes, we get the replay.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
There goes Raucus. Seagull finding him, and he DMX Cool Mat as well.
My name is Seagull. I play Flex for Dallas Fuel. Man, I played video games like all day long. Like this is what I did. So in terms of like where I was, it didn't really matter that much. It was just all about the games I was playing.
Seagull with the kill, and in the end, Dallas Fuel will come out on top.
In my genre, I love these types of games, so when Overwatch came out, it's just natural progression to move into the best game. Probably the Houston Outlaws. There's always a big history between our two organizations, and it's just fun.
But at the end, the old boys in blue holding strong.
Different nationalities, though, I really think they kind of make the team stronger in a lot of ways. Everyone has so many different perspectives they can all bring to the table. It really just makes everyone stronger. I mean, a team's goal is always to win it all, as though to us it's very odd to think of anything other than first place.
Well, there you have it. The man with a mission. He knows when Overwatch comes out, he's obviously going to play the best game, Hex. Clearly.
He's an OG. Moved over from a game prior to that. Was on a lot of those first teams. I think one of his teams early on, we gave him $50 for winning a tournament. I mean, that's how long this guy's been playing Overwatch. $50 split amongst 6 players, mind you, not $50 each. That's how long Seagull has been playing Overwatch, but can play absolutely everything. I think he's a great addition to this roster, and yeah, this is going to be a huge rivalry. Not only these organizations prior to being branded for the Overwatch League, but Houston, Dallas. I mean, that's interstate rivalry.
Interstate. I mean, you have the rivalry of these two orgs going way back into like the COD Halo day or COD days. I mean, Envy and Optic. I mean, those are two massive brands already that have been rivals together for years and years, and then they come into Overwatch League as well. I mean, it's fantastic if you go through all of the history of these orgs and the esports around them. But, you know, that's the storyline, really. Of course, right now, they're not playing as Houston. It is worth pointing out, they are playing as the Gladiators, hometown heroes here with the shields that kind of faltered there at the end on Eichenwald. They didn't have that perfect defense.
And the difference between going into stage 2 at 4 and 6 versus 5 and 5, I think just confidence-wise is a world of difference. One is a losing record, the other is, well, frankly, not a losing record. Not a winning record, mind you, but still, 5 and 5 is fine to move on from. And I just want to see if they can really lock down a style that they're comfortable with. It just seems like sometimes the cohesion's not there. To not get a tick onto First Point Eichenwald is not grand. Dallas's defense was very strong, but it seemed like that very first fight went on way too long, where they could have reset maybe once or twice, had a couple more cracks at it, and they never really got a cohesive attack. We'll see if that bleeds over onto Anubis, where cohesive attack is the name of the game. And especially on this last point, no substitutions for either roster, so those of you expecting Asher to come in, he's still waiting for his time to shine. Perhaps it'll be on a control map, but for now, same roster.
Well, we were talking about that, right? What do you think is the reason why they're not bringing in Asher here, Los Angeles Gladiators?
Well, Asher is your tracer specialist, but I think that Shore4 definitely gives you a little more versatility, especially if you start wanting to run maybe a double projectile, hydration in the sky or on the Junkrat, or all of them. They have a lot of crossover. Shore4, not the same level of tracer as Asher is, but he can play tracer if they need it. He can play Reaper, which I think is the style of the Gladiators. I think we'll definitely see a Reaper mixed in on the second point. And he can play Widow, he can play everything. So Shore4 is the guy that you go into if you think you have to switch your compositions.
That'll be the thing, versatility. It's one of the strengths that Dallas Fuel have, well, had in the past, let's say. Now that they've kind of bolstered that with the addition of Seagull, who can play a whole host of heroes, as well as Taimu, same thing. You know, trying to counter fire with fire, perhaps.
Well, Seagull was looked at as a great pickup for the Fuel because they were always lacking a pure projectile DPS. And Seagull will play Junkrat, he'll play Pharah, he can play Genji, so it's a different kind of skill set than a hit scan DPS, and that's what Taimu's good at. So they're definitely complementary players.
Oh, there we go. A little bit of the health, not the hook, but a shot to the face works as well. There it is, the jump. Remix not even turning away. Fully committed to that fight, willing to take the damage, and that's going to cost him in the end. Mickey removes him from the map immediately. Somehow Big Goose is cheeky enough to pull up a res at point blank. And missing the shots here. This has been one of the issues here for Taimu. Not as consistent with his Widow plays as others. And Shore4 showing us what a strong start he is capable of.
Took to the sky with a grapple shot, knew exactly where Taimu was, eliminates him from the fight. Now we will continue getting very aggressive as Mickey puts a lot of damage on, but the Mercy's there to heal him up all the way. Not the burst damage needed with the rockets in there. Shore4 does take down Harry as well. Shore4 and Hydration have combined to win this fight for Los Angeles.
Just shredding him. Coco, not long for this world. He is gone, and it will be just a perfect take here for Los Angeles Gladiators. Unfortunately, I am going to throw Taimu under the bus a little bit and say that he had a couple opportunities there to do some damage and maybe stop it. Look at Surefour. He goes on to wreck half of his team. If he wins that duel versus Surefour at the start, maybe
so
it changes.
Surefour was definitely going to switch there. He wasn't going to run Widow on second point. What's interesting is Dallas running a Reaper on defense on second point. That's going to be Taimu. Surefour can play the Tracer. He played a lot of Tracer a long time ago in Overwatch. Still capable of it. Here comes a Nano Blade, though. That might be over already, Semler.
There you go. What can you do if your chips in your Harry is dead? Dragon Blade is bad enough. A boosted Dragon Blade, well, that's never going to be much fun at all if you're a healer and squishy. Taimu underneath. He gets reflected back. Surefour is there to help out as well. And right now, Dallas Fuel, it's looking grim. The defense getting overwhelmed. Coco has gotten rezzed up by Chipsayan, who finally gets the wings out, and so things might be able to stabilize just a little bit here for Dallas Fuel. Comes down to how well Gladiators can call out their targets or decide to back off, and it's looking like that's what's going to happen. The reset comes through here for the Gladiators.
It's time to back off now that Chips is going to get resurrections. And once you lose one or two here on this offense, it is time to push all the way back, reset your forces. But Hydration, after he goes in with the Nano Blade from Shaz, they're not going to have Nano again, but he's going to have Blade again. That's how much damage he did cleaning up that fight. And you have to imagine that Chips and Harry might not hang out on that right side anymore, although it is the place that you see most of the supports hanging out. Because if you're hanging out on the left side, you're going to deal with a Tracer. Hanging out on the right side, the tank should come in on you.
Exactly. Well, you don't really have that high ground Tracer either to keep an eye on things. Hydration, however, finds the kill on Taimu, and there it is. Hydration so quick to get the Dragon Blade, and yet again, he's like, oh, fancy finding you guys here. Doesn't matter, though. Harry Hook picks him out of the sky. And that should once again set it up here for Dallas Fuel to hold.
Coco's Primal Rage was the answer to that Dragon Blade that they needed. He tried to get in there and then knocked about by Coco. Harry Hook, of course, would finish him off, but that's the only ultimate they had to use there. Coco's taken a lot of flack on his Winston play, but definitely knows when to use the ultimate and why to use it. Completely negating the Blade from Hydration. And now Dallas has a very good economy cooking. Next fight, though, should be Valkyrie versus Valkyrie. Chips versus Big Moose.
Very curious to see when Taimu decides to get into position for that Death Blossom. Hanging up there on the high ground. They aren't going to charge straight up Main Street, though, Gladiators. They're looking for picks to start, and that is a big one. Surefour with the Pulse Bomb on Chipsayan.
Chips down, Hydration now down in turn, but Chips losing Valkyrie ability, not that big of a deal because they'll get right back into this. Big Moose already popped his. He said Chips will have his, should he so want to use it now. I think Dallas might try to get a couple more kills and hope that they can hold on to it.
Ooh, there it is, Taimu manages to find the shot in the end. That's not too shabby. We do have Shaz committing with the trance. He will get caught by Harry Hook eventually, and Dallas Fuel with a bit of a rough start on the second point defense. It did look a little hairy. They've given up one tick already. Now it seems like they're finding their own form.
This is great for Dallas, though. Chips has been so patient on his Valkyrie usage. I think that's been the difference for them the last several weeks, that their ultimate economy has been better. Sometimes patient to a fault, but for the most part, using it when he only needs to. And when you're playing defense on these points, getting a kill is usually enough. You're able to pull it back. So now they're going to have a huge ultimate advantage in this next fight.
Curious to see if they're going to be able to try pushing back here into the left corner as well. Keep in mind, Seagull has been around to babysit the healers ever since it went south in that first push. So Los Angeles Gladiators starting to go straight up the middle. Taimu will be able to back out. Get topped up on the heels. Seagull, you can still keep an eye, and that's exactly what you were waiting for. If you are Seagull, you're trying to hit that point-blank nade, that point-blank mine, shut down that Dragon Blade quick. Instead, it's remixed to pancake them.
They got to pop Valk as soon as this Transcend is open. Chips has to get out here and bring people back to life. I don't know why he's holding it. Here comes a Valkyrie finally. A self-destructible zone people out a little bit. Mickey will fall afterwards, though. Yet to see any resurrections from Chips as he's stuck back in the corner. Seagull taking out Hydration might be the first kill that they need. That's the first resurrection coming out of that Valkyrie.
Will you be able to get anybody else, or is it just going to be the heal chain? I mean, that is big. Lots of healing getting cranked out by Valk, but it's the power of those resurrects that makes it so decisive in the end. Mickey and Harry Hook, though, doing some work. They're still in this fight, however. Bishu decides to back off. It looks like he's going to follow. Remix gets batted out of the air. Can they de-mech him before he makes it around the corner? Yes, Bishu, no mech.
So Chips only used one resurrection there, but that was a point of patience as well. He was chain healing someone around the point, so they're not getting progress on it. There's no need for him to go to an unnecessary resurrection. If he dies in that fight, then all the healing's gone and their stall potential is out of it. So again, patient play even during the Valkyrie mode to not put his life at risk, to make sure his team is alive. You don't have to win the fight, you just have to win it a little bit. Getting 1 or 2 kills, your respawn advantage is so enormous that I think he's right to not even try to force another resurrection.
The death of 1,000 cuts, Hex. Hydration believes in death in 2. Chip Say is like, we will whittle them to death.
Well, Big Goose will have Valkyrie next fight. Chip's gonna get there again, doing so much healing. So this is going to be another 2 support ults for both teams. Comes down to if Hydration can force it early, he's going in.
And once again, and this time you're not gonna make it happen. As soon as you get the blade out, there's Taimu. 2 kills for Taimu. And you're getting a little repetitive here, Gladiators. Fuel, they're starting to figure out what you're about. 60 seconds remaining when, well, the Gladiators had more than 6 minutes to start this push.
That is a big 0 next to Goose Eggs. Or big, it's a Goose Egg, that's what I meant.
There you go.
Big 0 next to Big Goose's ultimate charge as he busted out the Valk early in that fight, got no value out of it, switched to Ana for a second. He wanted to go back to that hero, but his team convinced him they still need a Mercy. But on the other side of things, patient old Chips still holding on to his own ultimate yet again. He's gonna resurrect Seagull here. Hasn't popped Valk. There's the preemptive Valk from Chips.
There it is. He's gonna get that extra res now. And what do, Gladiators? This is solid. They decide to back off. The only problem is that Valk lasts 20 seconds, and you've got less than 20 seconds on the clock now to get in here. And so it's gonna be about touching the point at the last possible second here for the overtime wick.
It's gonna be about Remix. Remix has to pop Primal Rage and get in here, get himself 1,000 HP. There's that Primal Rage to try to keep going. Big tire potential coming out from Seagull.
Waiting patiently, looking for the Goose. He's gonna go hunting the trance, though wears off, and Shaz will fall. A little bit of healing lost, and certainly the orb, although as I say that, Big Goose will get the res off, of course, and so he is back into this fight. Seagull, you can see from his perspective, more than happy to just lob nades into their faces.
They gotta be careful though, because they've gotten so much progress on this point. Big Goose almost getting close to his own Resurrection Valkyrie mechanic at 89%, at 90%. They were fighting on the point the whole time, so they are so close to this. Now Big Goose does pop the wings. This fight's gone on way too long.
Harry Hook and Chip Sayan are gone as well. You do have Coco trying to buy more time. Taimu gets snuffed before he can even get out of spawn, and Seagull can't make it to the point to challenge in time. In overtime, they will get that second point in the end, the Gladiators.
And that's why you convince Big Goose that we don't need an Ana here. If we can stall out this fight long enough, we'll get you to your Valkyrie. That healing potential so high when everyone's getting hurt. And also Big Goose early in that fight did a great job of avoiding the tire. He was around the corner, you saw the silhouette. Of course, Seagull can't see that silhouette, but he stays out of that mix. Seagull knows that that's very likely where Big Goose is going to be near because the supports have to support each other. Does end up taking down Shaz, but Big Goose alive long enough to get a Valkyrie there.
Well, better yet, he gets the res off on Shaz for free. So
yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
Hey, bro, tire? Nope. Shaz is back, and the push continues. So, solid work, solid positioning there from the Goose in the end. Dude, geese are fierce.
Yeah, I know, right?
You don't mess with geese.
No, they are not ducks. They're ducks' angry cousins. Don't try to feed them bread.
No.
No.
Don't try to have a picnic anywhere near that. You know, just don't. Just avoid geese in general. But this Goose, you know, he's looking out for his teammates. Envy, well, not Envy. Dallas Fuel pissed him off, and so there you go.
That's right. That angry Goose does come in and bring this team back to life. Well, I mean, look, the defense for Dallas still very good. It was an overtime push. There's no time really in the bank for the other side in the Gladiators. But this is where it comes down to, can Dallas put together an offense good enough to win 2 maps in a row? Their defense not been an issue at all. Offense has been questionable at times. We'll see if this offensive lineup can get it done. I like what they're showing right now, at least, and I think this is what they're going to roll out of Spawn. Seagull's Genji hasn't seen a lot of work in the Overwatch League, but it's definitely a hero he's more than capable on. And Taimu's Widow
Has been questionable. I'll finish that sentence for you. Has not been the strongest Widow. It has been one of the weaknesses on this offense. You don't really have the Widow to get that opening pick to start things off. If he can win the duel here versus Surefour, of course, more than happy to eat my words, X. If he wins it over to Surefour. We just didn't see that in the first half.
I think it would probably help him if we just plugged in the commentary to his ears so he could hear you saying that you doubt him. Taimu works best when doubted.
And, well, time it. Hey, there we go.
There it is.
There we go. Oh, we lose Seagull, the micro missiles, though. So a fair trade on the kills, at least. As far as the damage dealers are concerned, Hydration's still here to do work. Of course, he's checked in. He's ready for overtime.
Oko leaping to the back line, but he has to give up his life for it. He was going for Shaz right there. It's going to be a hold so far for the Gladiators. A little bit of pressure on the point here by Baby Diva. That's going to get cleaned up and staggered out. But that might buy them enough time to get the offense in decent position to come back here. But no, it will not. Defense will just completely reset up again. Back to the drawing board right out of spawn.
If you are, yeah, the Dallas Fuel. Curious to see what Taimu has got in store for us again. If he can find that opening. With this shield, with this constant barrier down, it really does give Surefour a lot of room to work with. Usually we see teams just change up off of the Widow. If they see the Widow, oh, she's got a shield.
The huge advantage the offense gets here is that you're taking all this chip damage, so you're going to have Valkyrie way faster. As you see, Chips has it. He's ready to res whenever they want. Losing 2, though, that's not really Dallas's style to resurrect 2 just to come back to even. That will keep the window open for Big Goose to close this gap between Valkyrie Mercy abilities. And now that window closed because they lost 2 early.
Big thing here is that Harry Hook, now he will have that trance so early in this fight. 2 support ults for Dallas Fuel could be the decider, the difference maker, as the wings get popped aggressively here from Chip Saiyan. Following his teammates in, boosting, healing, just keeping him in this fight. No use for the reses just yet. Hydration, content to lob nades, and left and right. Decides to fall to the back, and this is solid from him as well. Closes off that corner so he doesn't have to worry about as many angles.
Preempt to Valkyrie, and the dive will come in, but Big Goose goes down to Taimu on the other side of things. This Tyre looking for a little bit of work, will not find any.
Interesting. Beishu just chucking his mech in, will be able to get the remech. Takes a lot of damage in the process, though. And Seagull having to back off. iRemix still alive on this fight, although he is very low. There's the fortify. He'll be in this just a little bit longer. Oh, never mind. Seagull.
I mean, good play, but that was just, you know, picking off the scraps right there. The crumbs left over. They had a combined total of about, I don't know, conservatively 10 HP. Looks good in the kill feed, though.
Yeah, it takes us like an anime thing, you know? You just happen to fit. No mercy from Seagull.
I would like to see Dallas be a little more aggressive. That was a more aggressive dive. They coordinated it a little better. But even when Chips has the Valk up, if you can get in there and trade, and you know you have Valkyrie advantage, then you're going to be good. Here comes Seagull's blade.
Very well done, though. He's wasted a lot of time. He still finds the kill on Hydration, but that's fine. Hydration, total chaos, manages to get the kill right back, and then Big Goose, of course, will get the res off. And so they should be able to withstand this Los Angeles Gladiators right now, although Big Goose is going to pull out the wings in this fight. Not willing to risk it.
They want to make sure that they win this fight. They will do just that, but now they have to know they are going to be at a huge disadvantage Valkyrie-wise. Big Goose just switches for a second, went on to Lucio for a moment. He really is telling his team that he wants to play anything but Mercy. He switched on to Ana for a second, now back to Mercy. Switched on to Lucio for a second, now back to Mercy.
Listen, Big Goose, you got one more day. That's it, you got one more day. Just hang in there, buddy.
Dal's gonna posture up here up top. Taimu wants to find an angle. That's why the tanks are up here. They want to give Taimu all the room in the world to work with. Gladiators should be playing beyond sight lines. You see them hiding beyond pillars. Maybe setting up their own counter dive. Yushi was in position, but he's gonna get in there, try to get onto Seagull. Unable to get that Matrix over him, and Hydration falls.
Unbelievable, the res point blank in the middle of the chaos. Big Goose brings Hydration back to the fight, and Chip says, sure enough, we'll bring Taimu back. Once again, we find ourselves at a bit of a stalemate.
The Valkyrie is out for Dallas right now, so Taimu might get a second life, does that. Now Taimu rewarding the extra life as he continues to clean up 4 quick kills for Dallas.
And there we go, Taimu. I mean, with the infra sight, that definitely helps. He's gonna be able to set it up, and Taimu's there to shut down Hydration before he can get around the corner on the Doomfist. Dallas Fuel, we doubted them a little bit at the beginning, but they definitely woke up towards the end. Solid work with 3 minutes in the bank. They will pick up the second point, tie us up. This has been one of the closer maps, or more effective maps for Dallas Fuel. It's worth pointing out.
Yeah.
Anubis, that's the insane run versus Soul at the very beginning of the stage. I mean, that feels like ancient history now at this point.
So send your Taimu is inconsistent hate mail. It's a Semler.
There you go. Feel free. Feel free. Hit me up.
123 Fake Street.
At On Fire Semler. So
Nice plug.
you can check it out there.
Taimu had a good game. No two ways about it. He got in there, but I mean, it helps that he wasn't necessarily getting hard countered, especially on the second point. Didn't really have to win Widow v Widow battles once that was over. They just let him do whatever he wanted, and his team gave him all the support in the world. He's sitting up on that perch. He's got 2 tanks up there. He doesn't have to worry about getting diva bombed or anything like that. And that forces the Los Angeles Gladiators to play in a different and not ideal situation. I've always said about Widow that just picking Widow already changes everything. Because now everyone has to play differently. They play in different spots. You're not banking on these pros missing shots. You step outside and you try to peek, and you might have just lost it for your team. She changes the shape of the battlefield without firing a bullet. And when you hit those headshots, that battlefield becomes even smaller.
It's almost as if she were a sniper.
Yeah.
Funny how that works. But there's a sniper around. You're not smoking cigarettes in the middle of the night. That's for sure. You're hiding. And so here we go. Dallas Fuel. What is going to be the play here as Taimu has done it? He's actually going to go for a big change.
A triple tank coming out for Dallas Fuel. They're going to take it slow here.
Well, they know that they have the time to work with here at this point.
They still want to set a good time, though. I mean, well, actually, you're right. They got plenty of time in the world. So this is a little variation on maybe a Slambulance here, but it's still just both of the regular supports. I mean, look, Roadhog is a DPS anyway, so it's kind of this weird hybrid. They want to crack shields and just roll right in, and then it's a pick composition. Ult and Hook get someone out of the fight and just take that advantage in. Also, they're building up a lot of ult percentages because of these 3 tanks.
Yeah, I'm happy you're seeing Taimu on the Roadhog because this guy has been very consistent. Him and Mickey both. That's one thing that Dallas Fuel have going for him is that either one of them can get on the Roadhog and then just hit hooks for days. They're so good with their hook percentage. Oh, nearly gets it. That would have been big.
Dallas only needs to get 33% on this first point, a notoriously difficult point to hold. That hook will take them out of position. However, Jet boosters are pretty good. Gets himself back in it. Chips has his wings ready. Big Goose will get there soon. And a nice kill by Seagull to take out that tire.
That's big. That is real big because now that's going to force Hydration to get back into this fight. Once again, Trance is going to get traded here. Still keeping an eye on the Valkyries for both Mercies. Who's going to decide to get antsy first and pull the trigger first and get those wings going, get those reses going, and sure enough, Big Goose will force it out. And this will be him running into it. What is this? Taimu dancing on the edge. Not going to get the kill. But still, you gotta appreciate it, man. The man, he was focused.
Double res comes out. Now Seagull will take down Remix on the other side of things. That opens things up as there'll be no shielding for the Los Angeles Gladiators. Big Goose comes in and resurrects iRemix, but too little, too late. That Remix not as good as the original one, apparently. Another res comes out, but it is all over but the crying.
And to the sound of the bongos, the Fuel will win the second map here. Gladiators having a bit of a dicey start to this series. 2-0 now the score for the Dallas Fuel, looking to rack up their second win, whereas Los Angeles Gladiators still wondering exactly what needs to change here.
Dallas defense looking strong as always. I mean, when you play a defense like this, your offense only has to get 33%, makes things a lot easier.
Nice Seagull, gonna have new tire soon. Genji left side, he'll get it. Watch out, blade. Point. Doom right. That.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Welcome back. It's halftime here in our first series of the day, and the Dallas Fuel are up 2-0 coming into the half. I'm Chris Puckett, your host. I'm joined at the desk. We got both of our analysts back in action, Bren and Crumbs, and already we've got a lot of happy Dallas Fuel fans here in the venue. Let's talk about where things started, and that was on defense for Dallas. Bren, I know you have a telestration for us. What are we watching?
I do. We've got some insights powered by Intel. Once again, this is a great defense by Dallas, and I'm going to be highlighting exactly what they were doing right in this. So first thing you need to see is that Taimu and Mickey are playing sort of on the flanks here. It's a bit unusual. You might be questioning why they're actually doing this, but you need to take a look at the time that Gladiators have got going into this. Only 12 seconds, and they need to get onto the point fast, so the pressure is on for them. And this was back in Eichenwalder's first attack by Gladiators. Hadn't even got any cap time on the point at this time. And what Mickey's doing up here on the high ground is he's waiting for an opportunity to jump straight into the back lines and assault and split them up, because he knows the time is short, so Gladiators are going to be rushing this in. They're not going to be able to get all their players on the point at once. And Taimu is going to be here as well to support him, pushing up when needed as well as the game goes on. And let's just see how this plays out. And it's honestly perfect positioning, to be honest. Mickey makes a lot of these questionable flanks every now and then, but this was a brilliant one because he completely splits up Shaz, takes one of the supports out of the fight. Big Goose is forced to go down there and support him. While this is going on, Gladiators are completely split up here. You can see all of them on the point, but half the team is also in the back because they have to try and deal with Taimu and Mickey. But at this point, it's too little, too late. The overtime ticking down, and Seagull dropping these rockets in from above, getting the picks for his team. The overtime will slowly drift down eventually once they clear up the rest of these players, and it's just a matter of time before Dallas Fuel end up taking this defense, full holding Gladiators here. And that was the insights powered by Intel. I just thought it was a nice little moment, and it proved why I am still a god-tier analyst and predicting Dallas Fuel to win it.
Ooh, Bren patting himself on the back early on. Crumbs, you went with the Gladiators coming into this match.
Still not
over.
over.
Good for the Gladiators on their defensive stand. They had Dallas kind of stuffed at the gate. They weren't able to break through for the first 2.5 minutes, but towards the end, Dallas found an answer. They were able to get through. How did they get it done?
Yeah, well, it looked pretty grim actually from the start, because Hydration was killing Seagull the entire time around with his Junkrat, as Junkrat does. You just spam on one direction and you force out reses every time. But it was Taimu went with a crazy flank. So he manages to sneak himself around town, and he's just waiting for the opportunity, thinking, do you go for the supports? No, you gotta go for Hydration. He's been killing everyone. Gladiators don't even know he was here. He's gonna go for this move. Waits for everybody to step back up. Bam. See, that's right there. Bishu, where's the defense matrix? Where's the defense? Where's people saving him? Didn't happen. He ends up getting picked off, and that's what spurs the attack from the Dallas Fuel to be able to actually crack that point. Otherwise, that could have easily been the draw game.
Now, Surefour was able to clap back, right? He came back out, hit the flashbang, hit the shot, killed Taimu. So you got basically an even fight on the point as we roll some of the highlights from game number one. This one went back and forth, But I have to ask you, who are the standout players? For me, it was this man that we opened up with, Taimu on the Hog. Great to see Dallas giving him his favorite hero.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a reason why I talked about Taimu twice in the pre-show, and it's not just because I'm a big fan of him, but it also is because he is a good player when the going gets rough here, and you can see it here now. Like, he was flexing over to the Roadhog in terms of this game, and that's one of the roles that he sort of was known for back in the day when they were playing this triple tank meta game, and he's still a phenomenal player even now. But you can see also onto the McCree, creating picks, creating space for his team.
I think it's a cool little adaptation, because before they were just running the D.Va, or rather Orisa Roadhog combination, which didn't add a lot of variety. But now that you have Mickey and Taimu with a lot more confidence, you can actually put the Hog in it as well with the D.Va. So now you have a way to deal with any flankers with the D.Va, have a defense matrix as well, but you also have the combo of the Hog. So it's cool to see that Dallas actually expanding their tank repertoire to something a little more viable today.
One of the conversations we had on the decks throughout the first map was, okay, Chips is getting picked way too often on his Mercy. You're seeing Big Goose getting picked off on his Mercy. So let's keep our eyes on the supports as we go into Anubis. And when Anubis loaded up, we had an unfamiliar face in the action once again. Shaz was on her, and let's talk about this first attack coming in from the Gladiators.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a very nice little sort of composition being ran here, and it was actually Shaz on the Ana. And look at this across the map sleep dart, very Ryu Jae Hong-esque. indeed. He sets it up with the Bio Grenade, and the dive by Gladiators, it was looking solid. It was looking really good. In fact, this was what really set the ball rolling in motion for them in terms of them getting about 6 minutes to cap that point B, but they just couldn't quite capitalize off it. It was super weird. Coming into this, we were watching this, Crumbs, and we were looking at the ultimates at the top. We were like, they've got a Nano Boost, they've got a Dragon Blade, they've got a Valkyrie. There's no way in hell they're losing this fight. And yet, what did they do? They end up losing the fight for various other reasons that we can go into when the highlights start rolling a little bit later on.
Now, the Genji was kind of the whole goal, right? We're going to nano boost this Genji. He's going to blade. He's going to clean up point B. The first time they clear both supports, Dallas has to kind of edge their way back onto the point and are able to stall. But as they went back to the Genji later in the game, Taimu was ready for it. He had switched over to the Reaper, and in this next clip, Crumbs, just walk me through the thought process here from Taimu in the field.
Well, I'll tell you the thought process of the Gladiators first as well, which is there's just been so rushed right here. They're thinking, okay, as soon as I see the supports, I gotta go in. They see Taimu in the high ground. But look at this. They pop Valk as soon as the Genji Blade comes out as well without even establishing the position. So all Taimu has to do is he just pops his Death Blossom right there. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna kill him while they can't reflect. Takes out the Genji immediately, and this is the story of the point B attack from the Gladiators. They're just using all their cooldowns right away without the positioning being there, without any knowledge whatsoever. They're just thinking, we got it all, just blow it all, see if it happens, and it happened in defense as well, and that's what cost them the game.
Honestly, this game was not pretty from either team. Dallas walks away with the victory. As you roll some of the highlights here, let's talk about the big players once again. Surefour showing us that he can do it all. The Widow was shown on the point A. Shaz, of course, with the Ana kind of setting up this first attack. For you, though, Brent, who has been performing the strongest from the Gladiators up to this point?
For me, it's got to be Shaz, actually, in terms of his ult usage. His positioning has always been quite on point. I'm actually a little bit disappointed by Big Goose. I mean, we mentioned the supports, the Valkyries, the Mercy players for both these teams, Chips and Big Goose, haven't been performing too well. And that is the main weakness for Gladiators right now, is what I've seen is a bit of misuse of the Valkyries at the wrong time. When they believe that Dallas is going in for these team fights, they end up just using these high-value ultimates in strange situations and giving openings for Dallas to really work.
Yeah, I actually have the Hydration as my highest performer from the Gladiators, with the exception of the Genji, but this is what the team is plagued by, inconsistency. So we can just grab on the high note and say, oh yeah, this is what's been impressing me so far. And it was his hold on point B that forced a Taimu flank, his hold on point A and B that just gave the Dallas Fuel trouble. It was when he switched to Genji that things got a little bit uglier, but for the most part, I think that he has been the individual that stood out the most. Otherwise, that flank, you would go for the supports. You don't go for the Junkrat.
I think that hydration is definitely going to be an X factor for us moving forward. And keep in mind, we have at least 2 more games in this series. Gladiators, they are trying to mount a reverse sweep. Can they get it started? Well, they're going to need some big play from hydration. Let's real quick hit Oasis. It's game 3 coming up next. And as this map has shown us, it can come down to the Pharah play.
It sure can, but it's also going to come down to me switching my predictions here, because I do think that the Dallas Fuel have the advantage on this map from what we've seen. And Seagull has been pretty sick with his Pharah, to be honest. He's actually been able to keep up with anybody else so far, and hydration, I think, is going to be no stranger to that.
Yeah, in general as well. I talked about let's see the old Taimu, but I wanted to see the old Seagull as well, because Seagull back in the day, this guy could play the Genji, the Pharah on, you know, top tier levels, right? And now that's only just starting to come back into play. Now that could be for a variety of reasons. Could be because he hasn't played much recently, he hasn't seen as much play time as some of the other members of Dallas Fuel. However, we're starting to see him get back into the groove, and I think for Oasis that is going to be a major focal point now for Dallas taking it.
And a lot of you guys probably just read that stat card. Keep in mind that Seagull has about, well, a lot less time than hydration, and most of his gameplay is on Eichenwald, where you get a little bit more of those direct hits. A great Pharah matchup could be in store for the second half, and that is going to do it for our halftime coverage. But we did see earlier in the season as the LA Gladiators pulled off the first ever reverse sweep when they went back against the Philadelphia Fusion. But there was a key moment in that match that made all the difference. And here's Hex to break it all down for you in a new segment called Turning Point, brought to you by Sour Patch Kids Candy.
In Week 2, the Philadelphia Fusion were about to take Control Center against the LA Gladiators and drive the series to a decisive third-game tiebreaker.
They will take it back against all odds, so one more fight incoming.
But the Gladiators would regroup to force overtime.
Watch Surefour. He's at 91%, 92%. A grab could win the Los Angeles Gladiators this match.
With Shadowburn heading back from spawn and time running out, Shore4 would use Zarya's Graviton Surge to help iRemix and Asher take out Carpe and D-Mech Poké. Neptuno's Mercy had to abandon the point, so that leaves Hydration to focus on Fraggy's Tracer. The Gladiators would retake the point to lock up the first ever reverse sweep of the Overwatch League.
D.Va is waiting right around the corner. She's going to try and get in, but it's not going to happen. And the Gladiators run it back.
That right there was the turning point where Shore4's Graviton Surge helped the Gladiators turn a sour moment into something sweet. Presented by Sour Patch Kids Candy.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Dallas Fuel keeping that same energy from Twitter last night because they are putting a clapping to the LA Gladiators. And you know what? I gotta say, I really miss the old time move. Anybody else miss the old time move? Yeah? Yeah? It feels like he really got his confidence back and he's speaking from his soul again. But you know what? If there's any team that can come back from 0-2, it's the LA Gladiators. So let's jump into this second half action with my boys, Simler and Hex.
Thank you, Malik. My little guy, like I can reach down to him right there. He's right there. Hey, Malik. Thanks, bro. Yeah, Taimu, he's popping off. First two maps, he showed up. I was criticizing him a little bit on the Widow, but when he switched over to that Hog, man, he was just hitting hook after hook, really imposing his will.
Yeah, I think Malik was right. Just great confidence back. We ran into these guys in the hallway. It seems like they really got their groove back. You know, the old Taimu might have returned in just a little bit, hopefully.
Yeah, So, okay, speaking of changes up, Taimu, he's definitely showing up, right, in his own skin. But Hydration has been subbed out in the shape of Asher here. So, Hex, what do we make of that change here going into the third map, which will be the control point?
Well, there's a couple different reasons, probably. I was more expecting to see Hydration and Asher. Of course, you want your Tracer on control. Tracer dominates control in all aspects. Generally, you see a 5-man, and then Tracers are off doing their own thing. But Shore 4 can play a Pharah of his own if they should need it. And I think the reason that Shore 4 is in is, again, probably the reason he was in on Anubis. He gives them that versatility. If they don't want to run Pharah, or they think that they're not running it very well, he can switch over to a McCree and shut down the other Pharah.
Bam, there you go. And also help shutting down that Tracer. That flashbang,
Exactly.
I hear you shouting all day long in the caster room, goddamn McCree, the flash. I mean, there you go, man.
Flashbang, good ability. I like not moving and getting shot in the head.
You know what's even better than a flashbang? A flash and fan.
Flash and fan.
That is definitely your favorite thing in the world.
Fan in 2018, are you kidding me?
We'll see. We've got some fan action today. You can definitely use fan not only to shoot people in the face with a hail of bullets, but also break shields, all that jazz. We got some of the best McCrees in the business here between, well, at least one of these guys. Taimu in particular stands out on them. So, Fuel, Gladiators, it's up 2-0 right now in this series for the Fuel. They need one map to lock it down here versus the Hometown Heroes versus Gladiators, who are definitely the ones who are struggling in this matchup. But Control is a totally different kind of style and coming into it. It's a bit more chaotic. Do you think that'll favor the Gladiators in this sort of scenario?
I think so, because they can run a very aggressive dive if they should need it. Dallas has been running a lot of static kind of setups where they're running maybe Coco on the Orisa and trying to get into one certain position, get a couple picks, and then take the fight. Mickey's actually going to flex onto the Roadhog here. Taimu played a good Roadhog, but Mickey, as much as flack as he's gotten about his Diva, when he played Roadhog, it was an astounding Roadhog, so he's definitely widened his hero pool.
Yeah, he is. That's what I love to see about this team as well. Taimu, he can do it. We saw it, obviously, on Anubis, but Mickey's Roadhog is beastly. So definitely looking forward to keeping an eye on him, watching those hooks go flying through the air.
Well, this is an interesting rotation here to take this point rather than the wide open point that teams generally take, but they're just gonna be a good old-fashioned standoff here as they'll sit back. And the good thing about that shield there, oh my God, halted hook! Not finished though. Wow, they even had that Discord on him as well, unable to finish that kill. The shield placement here is great because it allows you to stay on the point of pressure but still safe behind the shield. Hook 2.0, line of sight broken. Diva gets out of that mess.
Oh, that was sick though, I love it. Sure4 though just dashing in, eviscerates Harry Hook. That's no good here for the Fuel. But then I guess if you're gonna go ahead and just completely fill the scoreboard with blue, the Fuel aren't feeling too bad about that. Chips will be able to get the res off on Harry Hook. And right now things are shaping up pretty nicely here for Dallas Fuel on the first point.
They're getting all the kills. They will grab first control of it. Harry Hook on the cleanup there. He's able to take down Asher as well. That's such a big thing for your Zenyatta to be able to win those duels because you know Tracer's always going after the Zenyatta. And Shore4 looked pretty good on the Genji. I imagine he'll give it one more life to try to get a blade. Also, switching to a Pharah in this situation where time is going to be behind shields is not ideal either.
Yeah, those shields are going to be a bit of a thorn in your side in terms of being able to deal the damage and hit the rockets. And while Taimu, of course, he's going to be just so happy. Hanging in there, you know, protected, just gets to blink away and hit headshots.
Get a little pressure on Harry early on. Taimu shuts down Asher with a flashbang. Harry Hook does pay the price for it, though. He's going to get eliminated. Both Valkyries now out.
Maximum value for that tire, though. The D-Mech on Bishu. Taimu follows it up with a kill. Of course, both reses will come into play, but that's it. No more reses left in this fight for the Goose to bring his teammates back. Where Sharpboard gets pinned to the ceiling. Some modern art for you if ever you've seen it. And Mickey, he's doing the work. Big play there with the whole hog.
What would you call that modern art piece?
That is Genji in motion. Although, not for long. It leaves a mark. You know, that's the thing. Art, that's what it's supposed to do, Hex.
It really makes you think. It really makes you think about the world.
And, well, you know, you don't get to leave, well, it's not a pretty mark when you've been pasted across the ceiling from a whole hog.
But a mark nonetheless. Dallas has Transcend to use in this next fight. Also, the Supercharger, colloquially referred to as the Bongos, will be out. Give everyone a little bit more damage. Dive comes in. Both tanks try to get some damage going. Taimu going for the big sneaky play. Able to dodge that flashbang.
Sick work. Asher. Yeah, exactly. That's so quick with Asher. He definitely hit that in time. Really nice read. Taimu with the angle, though. Loses the duel versus Shaz. No kill, and Mickey misses the bullet, but he gets the kill at the end with the help of his teammates. They will pull it off. Big Goose out of the fight. Defense is holding strong so far right now for Dallas Fuel. It's all about Gladiators just trying to prolong this long enough for the Goose to get back into the fight.
Yeah, burn him if you got him. If you're Dallas Fuel, you only need to win this fight. You will win the first stage. That is why the Valkyrie comes out right when it did. Chip's going to be able to bring his team back to life should they so need it.
Oh, Taimu again with the golden opportunity there to completely ruin their day. Harry Hook will find him, and there it is. Harry Hook coming up with the big plays. When the Deeps aren't delivering the support, they're no longer support. And well, you got the tanks just shredding house as well. They can definitely feel good about that first point, Dallas Fuel. Everybody just popping off.
Mickey on the Roadhog has given them a bit of versatility that they've lacked before, because generally Taimu had been their Roadhog, and then what does Mickey play? Are you going to run a triple tank setup in that situation? But Mickey's ability to flex onto the Roadhog allows them to run a traditional 2-2-2, 2 supports, 2 tanks, 2 DPS, where Taimu can protect everyone from the Pharah on a McCree, protect everyone from the Tracer on the flank. The vulnerability of Orisa is the flank, because she's only got the shield in front of her, and a Pharah can absolutely wreck an Orisa as well. And Taimu on the McCree is going to shut down both of those threats.
So, change of strategy coming through here again, showing the depth. It's going to be Mickey back on the Diva with Taimu running road. I want to change it up a little bit here. The triple tank. Not quite the Slambulance. It's a Slambulance with 3 wheels. It's a trike.
Close enough, though. There's definitely different variations on it. This is as close as it gets, though, as you get all these tanks. You get a Moira into the mix, a hallmark of the Slambulance kind of play. This is the stage you generally see it on as well. Teams want to just crash into each other. Taimu does get the D-Mech early on, though.
Oh, and there's the damage keeps on racking up here for Dallas Fuel. Shaz gonna have to give ground. I mean, Moira and Lucio, it's a solid healing pair, but there is no res possible, and so they will have to back off here, Gladiators, and Dallas Fuel will start getting that percentage rolling for themselves.
Roadhog, a great anti-tank, maybe not necessarily against these two that they're running in the Zarya and Reinhardt because of shields and protective barriers. Short 4 is able to flex onto the Zarya, another one of his heroes that you can take out the roster and they're part of Short 4's hero. Oh! See ya, have fun down in the hole.
Not quite the murder hole. They're going to get to come back to life eventually, but they get yanked out of the fight, and that sets it up. Asher and Remix are out of it already. Oh, the long range. Hook 2.0, though. He's saved. Big Goose, though. He definitely felt the sweat on his brow that time.
Now they're just going to reset here. Dallas has some nice ultimates to work with for the next fight. The big difference is Dallas is going to have Resurrection available, and who's really going to be able to deal with Chips once he gets into the sky? I mean, short answer, no one. The person who's got the best option to deal with a flying hero is going to be Shaz.
That's a little grim. A little grim, because Shaz, I mean, yeah, you can do damage, but it's not the fastest damage out there, not that burst.
Graviton ready here. Short 4 has won fights with Graviton in the past. Comes a Tire, though, trying to stop this fight before it even starts. Takes down an ulting Shaz.
Coalescence gone to waste. Big Goose sniped by Taimu. Hail of shrapnel. And well, unfortunately for Remix, he's going to get pinned in the corner and he is gone. Dallas Fuel up to 80% now on this point. And are we going to see a change of strategy, some kind of variant come out here from Gladiators? It's not looking like anybody is swapping.
No, it's not time to swap because you've spent the first several fights working up to your ultimate abilities. 2 of the best ultimates in the game coming online in Earthshatter and Graviton. Taimu going for the sneak play and able to get it, and they're just going to leave him back there. It's time for them to go. They're trying to get this Grav in here or Shatter, one of the two.
Like it, the self-destruct. Hail Mary not going to get anything out of it though. Seagull, however, will drop by Remix. And well, the self-destruct's just allowing for the Remix. The fight continues, the bongos are down, the music is flowing, and the damage is there. Dallas Fuel just rolling over the Gladiators. So much hurt and pain. They want them to feel it. They are in the arena. Let the Fuel show that this is their turf. 3-0 win for the Dallas Fuel, and the Gladiators left empty-handed.
Gladiators are experimenting with that strategy, but that strategy relies on you using those enormous ultimates well. Grav got nothing, Shatter got nothing, and the Dallas Fuel will end the season at 3-7.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
A league that offers opportunity for talented competitors to test and push our assumptions about how the game is meant to be played.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming at you live from Los Angeles, California. Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
All right, welcome back from the break, everybody. It is the Overwatch League, and we are in the last map now between Los Angeles Gladiators and the Dallas Fuel. So it's a 3-0 win for Dallas Fuel. You pointed that out at the end there, Hanks. And so now it's just really the battle for pride, because Gladiators, you can't go out 4-0. You gotta get something.
No, and I'm starting to wonder if this is the real Gladiators, if some of the stuff we saw earlier was an aberration. Well, when they lose poorly, and it's very difficult to kind of figure out why. They're gonna sub Hydration in for Asher here as we head into Dorado. It's gonna be Hydration and Surefour on the DPS. I mean, we talked about it in the pregame, or rather the desk did, that some of the tanks are just a little bit underwhelming on both sides. I feel that the Dallas tanks have played much better today. Mickey shining on the Roadhog. I think Coco's had himself one of his better games of the split so far. And still, there's some small mistakes in coordination coming out from the Gladiators tanks, and it seems like they're dying a little too often.
Putting Big Goose under even more pressure, obviously, having to play that Mercy with the Valk, get those reses into it. It is a bit of a struggle right now for Gladiators, but this is a long season. There's a lot of time to progress, and so I'm sure we're going to see these guys over this next week and a half between the different splits. There will be plenty of time to put the work in to prepare. We're on Dorado for the last map. The straight payload pushed to the end. And this is an opportunity perhaps for, well, not in this first half because the Gladiators are on the away team, so they'll start offense. But I'm always hopeful that we'll get to see some of the Doomfist on this map.
And you very well might. I mean, Hydration can definitely play the Doomfist. He's busted it out before. Of course, he made his name coming up as one of the best Pharah players in all of Overwatch, but has definitely rounded out his pool. No longer the dreaded one trick, as people call it. But I think if you're that good at something, who cares if you're a one trick? There's plenty of good one tricks in the game still, but we might see it. It'd be surprising if it was Surefour running it instead of Hydration, but you know, we'll just have to wait and see. Dallas Fuel going to be running kind of one of their standard compositions lately. Coco on the Orisa. You get Mickey in there on the Roadhog, which has been such a boon to them. That way you can run your 2 DPS on pure DPS players, and we've seen how good that a Junkrat and a Widowmaker can work together.
Yeah, especially, I mean, well, Seagull, he just always seems to get the damage in, the positioning on point, knows where to play behind his tank, so he's just constantly raining in grenades. A real difficult guy to deal with if you are trying to push into him, as Los Angeles Gladiators will be in less than 10 seconds now. The attack will begin. They'll start pushing that truck to its destination. Just curious to see if they're going to keep this locked in. It looks like it. Hydration will be on that Pharah, so looking for a little bit of the high ground action here.
Yeah, he's going to run into some shields here over the top. One of the strategies is to try to come in very far over the top. Maybe the Tracer's back there to distract. That's exactly where Surefour was headed. And then you get up there and you get a concussion. Maybe knock some people off, try to get them on the ground and let your tanks feast on them. All the while, you have to be very worried about a Widowmaker as well.
Yeah, curious to see when Taimu's going to spot him out. They're holding very far back right now, Dallas. Not really challenging too much at the opening. Allowing for Los Angeles Gladiators to push the payload up to the arch, and that is where there will be the first fight, sure enough. But Hydration right now, just playing this very cleverly as well. He knows that perhaps there's a Widow out there. Oh, well, he just gets the rocket onto Taimu, so he definitely knows now.
Little hit marker does show up. He knows exactly where Taimu is, so he's just going to back up and find himself Seagull on the ground. That is so much damage gone, and there goes Coco. Huge kills so far. Chips will get back in there, bring up Coco, but he sacrifices his life for it. Mickey trying to bring it back, though.
So sick. Hydration putting him in a rock in a hard place. Although, as I say, that Taimu makes all the difference. In the meantime, we're watching Hydration. Taimu's just wrecking house. Kill after kill for him, and you're thinking this is it. The moment for the Gladiators to push forward. Chip Sayan is out of the fight. But that was the positioning is so nice there from Hydration. That one-way Orisa shield, it's not like Ryan where you can turn it back forward, at least you get a decision.
Right.
Once that shield is down, that's it. And Hydration making full use of that.
Well, Hydration's internal clock has to be ticking there. He has to know that he bullied Taimu out long enough. That Taimu was on the ground at that angle that he was going to be able to come back. He did not account for that. Pays the price. Beautiful play from Taimu. And now Taimu has the added benefit of being able to see through walls thanks to his ultimate.
Always a good time. Bishu. Ah, the ultimate hook. There you go. And in the meantime, Taimu has found Hydration yet again. Bishu will dodge out. The safety of the trance is used. Seagull finds the kill on Big Goose. That's pretty much going to stuff this push. Gladiators already backing out as quickly as possible.
Another huge kill onto Hydration. Getting Hydration down a couple times means that he's not even going to be at his barrage just yet. Needs to hit a couple big rockets. And they are tired of dealing with Taimu. It's a great defensive Widow map. It's so hard to get back there. Maybe you send a Genji there, or more traditionally, you can send your own Widow after it. Taimu is going to have to face down with Surefour here.
We're going to have the duel. Last time we saw this, though, Surefour looked like he was coming out ahead in the Widow duel. He's been spotted, however. Taimu knows that something's amiss. I like it. You know, the comms are on point. If he's getting that halt to go in there, hoping to yank Surefour out into the open, capitalize on that, not going to happen. But he has spotted him in the end, and look at this big play. Taimu just launches himself out into the open looking for the kill.
He goes for it. It does seem, though, Mickey is going to get his whole hog off, and he's already gotten a lot of work done in this series on the whole hog. Remix will be out of this fight very early on. That resurrection may be ill-advised, but in and out. Big Goose gets Remix back into the battle, and there's the barrage. Finally, Taimu out of this fight.
Bishu, the hero there, knocking him out. Mickey not able to connect and get that kill on Big Goose. That would have been a bit of a sad story. Instead, it's Chip Sayan bringing Taimu back into the fight. Mickey is gone, but they're trading left and right at this point. The battle, it's long, it's drawn out. Surefour gets the spot on Harry, and that's all he needed.
Still, though, Dallas got a couple nice picks, courtesy of resurrections from Chips there. Taimu was able to take down Hydration yet again. Taimu takes down Surefour yet again. 30 seconds remain. Los Angeles, I think, was a second away from having a very good strategy of distracting Taimu with hydration and the Mercy in the air. And then that opens up lines for Short4 to try to deal with it. You have to both be pressuring him at the same time to try to secure that kill. The combo came in a little too late, a little hesitant on that. Short4 spotted out Taimu. Yet again, gonna see through walls. That ability will just now expire. Last good push for the Gladiators.
Let's see if they can make the magic happen here. We're in the City of Dreams after all, and Mickey, he is going to be on the edge, whole hog right in the corner. Takes advantage of Coco's shield as well. Buying a little bit more time as the Hulk combo goes out. Hook not able to get put into play, however. Mickey just going to go ahead and bull right into it. Why not? Hydration is within range, and the Hook just barely misses again.
Still going forward here. Taimu has been taken out of the fight, but that kill is absolutely huge. Hydration able to take down Chips. Gives his life for it, but brought immediately back up. Taimu should be getting back into this mix soon. He can get up top, but I think that might just be it. Los Angeles, a lot of momentum going forward. They've popped their Valkyrie, chain healing going on forward. They will grab the point.
Super solid from Big Goose with the patience as well. Instantly brings Hydration back to life, and that additional damage. You can see Seagull was just getting chased away by rockets. Not a fun place to be if you're a Junkrat. That only leaves them about 2 minutes left on this clock here, Los Angeles Gladiators, to push through another bit of a tortuous spot on this map with the high ground, and Dallas Fuel wasting no time at all with the positioning. Getting right up on there.
Definitely taking the high ground. Hydration is switched off of the Pharah. Just kind of an expected switch in this situation. Short4 shows himself, but only for a moment. Taken out of the fight in a huge mine from Seagull. Takes out both supports. This push is over.
Dude, bongoed mine, 50% more damage, get wrecked. That's instant death. There's no surviving that.
Feels bad.
Let's see it, let's see it, let's see it. I want to see this in action, I want to see it in action. Did he get the bongo? Oh, he was getting boosted by Chips as well. That's monstrous. Oh my God.
Down.
You're dead. There's no surviving that.
He did all the damage to both of them. It wasn't even like they were low health. He got all of it. Just absolutely crushed. Now, thanks to that, he's going to have a tire ready. Chips has a huge Valkyrie lead, and that he has it. Big Goose only at about 30%. See if Seagull can get himself in position to stay alive here. Cracks that shield instantly.
And guess what's coming? It's gonna be the tire used on Remake. Still does a lot of damage point blank like that, but not exactly the target he was looking for. Perhaps Short4 wins the duel versus Taimu in the meantime, but Seagull remains here on the high ground. And so long as he is up here, he's gonna continue just raining down the concussion mines, exactly. Will eventually get found. And Chip Sands already used both reses, so Seagull is out of the fight. He's gonna have to take the long walk back into it.
Their salty run back is in full effect. Taimu out of this fight as well. They do take down Big Goose, courtesy of Chips. Transcend still going here. It's going to be up to the supports and tanks to be able to clean up the rest of this. Still back and forth. This is going to zone them out at least for a little bit, but it does allow members to get back. Coco unable to shield himself from that self-destruct.
Right, again, rock, hard place. Get to know each other, because that's where you keep getting found. When everything works out for Gladiators, they are executing well. Chips with the slow res on Taimu.
This blade could mean everything for Hydration. He's just waiting for his team to get eyes on where Dallas is setting up. They're in a corridor, not the place where you want to see the blade. Blade comes out.
Oh, but Taimu takes Big Goose out of the fight. That's the Valk canceled out as well. Could make the difference. Matter of whether Hydration's gonna be able to win it through. iRemix and Hydration working well together as that hit squad. Kill after kill here for Gladiators, and they might have done it again. At the very brink, picking up the kill, and Hydration, hey, get the res, sure. Chip saying, get out of here.
Short4 has been on fire as this Widow. And a player like Short4 has to play so much. Sometimes you give them a little leeway in the first couple minutes on a hero. He's playing absolutely everything from projectile to hit scan, and it's just a different muscle memory mechanic you have to get into. But now his arm seems to have remembered what it's like to play Widow, and he's been hitting shot after shot.
Now he's going to be switching it up. Equally pleased to see a McCree in the action, though. And so Hydration will start off the party. Remix with the Primal Rage, going to go leaping about, soaking up so much damage. Oh, he doesn't make it out alive. Taimu hunts him down. But that actually cost Taimu his life, and so a little bit of room here to work with here for the Gladiators.
Taimu back into the mix, but so far the Gladiators with a big advantage right now. The spawn advantage, of course, will be in Dallas Fuel's favor. Gladiators with 30 seconds left. Hydration needs to stay alive, get another blade. That's been their closeout mechanic.
Super solid, and there it is. Surefour instant headshot, and it's not gonna be enough. Chips with the Guardian Angel goes leaping into the fight just to touch the point even, and it's not gonna be quick enough. The Gladiators gets all 3. Time remaining, I missed the time remaining at the end, 22. That was cutting it pretty fine.
Some very intelligent switch-ups from the Los Angeles Gladiators there, moving their compositions around to adjust what they were seeing. And it's one of the big reasons that you run Surefour in a lot of these situations where you know you're going to have to make changes. And perhaps when the meta switches and it's just going to be Tracer Genji constantly or something like that, maybe Surefour finds himself a little out of the mix on some of these maps. But for now, when you need someone who can play a Pharah or a Widow or even a Tracer, then Surefour's your man.
Yeah, the variety. Surefour, you know, variety is the spice of life. The man's got a spice rack in his back pocket of heroes. Constantly, you know, tasting while he's cooking. Got to do that, got to stay on top of the season.
Oh, absolutely.
But he knows when to add the salt.
When to add the salt.
When to add the spice. All right, let's get into the thick of things here because the countdown has begun, at least a minute prep. So Dallas Fuel will be swapping over to the offense, Gladiators on the defense, and Hydration will be on the Junkrat.
Dallas looks like they want to run a pure dive composition if this is what they roll out on. Seagull's Genji will be in full effect yet again. Taimu's Widow, it seems like, you know, those are some of their more comfortable heroes. And then you've got Coco and Mickey on the dive. So it's really just about finding that target, taking down a single target, making good trades for the offense. Defense going to be a little bit more static, but the only small variation is that Remix is on himself in Orisa.
That is a bit of a change. Have to see how he fares with that. Could set it up for the hard point defense, allowing for Hydration to have a place to just chuck grenades in. Bishu going to be keeping an eye on the high ground here, at least at the start. Of course, he can get out. And I like the angle here from the Junkrat spam. You can see it just kind of go sailing in, bouncing over right onto the payload. A little bit of damage done, but nothing too dire.
Gladiators in a very passive defensive position. At least seems like first fight they want to take is going to be in Courtyard. A lot of teams with this setup will hold at least high ground once, see what they can get going for it, and then rotate. But sometimes if that rotation's too late, then you've already missed your good setup. So they're just banking on their Courtyard setup. Hydration takes down Seagull early. Should force out a res, it does just that.
Taimu, unfortunately, not able to hit that killing blow on Surefour. Got an idea of where he's playing from at least. That's something to work with here, but we have to see if he's going to get rewarded. And well, a bullet to the face. That's what happens.
And that's over because Chips also went down during that, so they're going to completely hold back. A single healing Zenyatta, generally not enough to try to get in here. So far, this defensive positioning is really working out well. Surefour getting the best of Taimu yet again. Let's slow down this push again. Offense will be able to posture to where they want to set up, but they do kind of need to wait so that extra damage from Taimu's in the mix.
Kind of curious if they're going to go for the long flank. You got Coco and Seagull kind of working their way over here, but Bishu's keeping an eye on that by the looks of things. Exactly, hopping up here. Oh, you guys are not allowed to come through here. The bouncer says no. You get knocked off the side. You get bullets in as well. And Seagull, yes, there is a sniper, and he's killed. Oh, they traded Surefour. Another crit shot for him.
That's a much better trade for Dallas, though, taking out the main healer on the other side of things. But Chips falls in turn. Both supports now down. When you see that in the kill feed, it is time to retreat. Go all the way back. You're not winning a fight with both of your supports down when the other team's at mostly full strength.
Let's see, Shaz is going to head back over here, give Big Goose a little bit of a taxi, although that wasn't too necessary. Big Goose had plenty of time to run in. And well, again, the duel on the side between Bishu. I like that Bishu's just keeping an eye over here. One of the entry points for Genji can be along the top balcony, exactly.
And it means that Surefour doesn't have to bother with that.
Exactly.
That he can get all the damage on through the archway if he needs to. He doesn't have to be flicking left over to see where it's coming from. Now the ultra flank coming into effect.
Okay,
Seagull's fantastic journey all the way in the back line, and I don't think Surefour is going to expect this.
Oh, this is sick. This is where you just kind of cross your fingers and hope that he's going to get something out of it, because he should get rewarded for going for such a huge flank like this. But It's all about timing right now. The fight has already begun. We've got Chipsan using one of his reses already, and he gets caught by hydration again. And this could just be Seagull now waiting.
The issue is
sitting and waiting.
Seagull's been back there waiting for this fight to begin up front so he can come in with a blade and clean up the rest of it. Taimu's Infrasight should help him know where everyone is, but they lost both supports in staggered fashion to Dallas. So Seagull's had to really bide his time all the way back there. Good thing for him, they still don't know.
They have no idea. They keep going back there. Big Goose and Shaz were both right on top of it. The only problem here is that Shaz has got trance now. So that could get the cancel out on the Dragon Blade. They're trying to do the best they can to force it. But Shaz bravely holds on to the trance, and that's what's gonna stop Seagull. Well, the tire is also gonna help.
The insta-res will bring them back to fighting force on both sides of things. The Valkyries have been popped, but now Dallas comes out on top. Post-resurrections get a kill, but Big Goose still had one in his pocket there. This one is still going on the point. However, Remix finds himself all alone. Bishu's gonna try to help out, and he does just that. Short4 takes down Seagull. Less than 30 seconds left. Is it a retreat on? Retreat is on. They do get out clean to wait for Seagull. Blade might turn this around for them. Oh, they almost got out. A nice chase from Bishu.
Sick halt as well from Remix, just pulling Taimu out into the open. Well played on that part. Chips will be there with the res, but that means one less res here for the fight. It's gonna be a while before he has it again. So Shore4 backing off this time. For once, Harry is actually the one to start the party here for Dallas Fuel. Gets that volley shot onto Shaz to start things off.
Shore4 out of this fight until something big happens where he can come in and safely pick it up from the top. Big Goose has to resurrect Shaz right away. Self-destruct, zones people out a bit. The blade from Seagull completely shuts out. Holy Shaz bots.
Shaz with the plays. You held on to that Dragon Blade. How long? Let me ruin your hopes and dreams. Get out of it, Seagull. And right now, Los Angeles Gladiators, the shields are up, they're locked together, and they're looking impenetrable. Overtime is out, and the Gladiators will pick up a map. 3-1, the final score between the Fuel and the Gladiators.
Gladiators get a bit of momentum. Even though they lost the set, they will win the last map of the split. Dallas brings himself up to a respectable 3-7 after a pretty abysmal start to the league. And they seem like they're moving in the right direction.
Progress is made, and so we'll hear what the analysts have to say after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
That's our first match of the day, and Dallas Fuel walk away with a big win. Any Dallas fans out there? There's like seven of them really excited right now. Welcome back to the desk. I'm Puckett. We're joined by Bren. We've got Crumbs as well. And coming into today, we said that there was one player to look out for. He was very confident on the day, and he's our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. It's Taimu, ridiculous performance on the hog and everything else, and right now, he's down on the floor with Zoe.
Taimu with me, first of all, congratulations. What a dominant performance by you and your team. Now, we discussed it already pre-match. You had a very explicit tweet yesterday predicting a win. Does that put any pressure on you personally or even at your team when you're so confident prior to a match?
I mean, I like to use the tweet as confidence because I'm confident going into the match, and that's how I used to be, and I kind of lost it for a while. But now that, like, I really felt confident that we can easily win the game, so I just want to do the trash talk, and and even if we lose, like, I know how to lose graciously, so it doesn't really matter. Like, even if we lose, I'm gonna get memed on, life goes on.
That's true. Well, I appreciate the spice for once, so thank you very much. It adds a lot to our desk panel discussion, trust me. Now, between stage 1 and 2, there is a short break. What's the schedule like for you and your team?
A lot of people want to have a small break. I personally, I'm gonna keep grinding really hard. I'm really proud of my team, and it's so much fun to, like, perform on this level again.
Well, it's so much fun to see you guys performing on that level. Thank you so much. Dallas is back, baby. And now we're going back to the desk to break down all the action.
Thank you so much. So, one more time, give it up for Taimu. Never stop memeing, buddy. It was fun to watch you today. Dallas walks away with a 3-1 victory, and we have to start with game number 3. Coming off the half, it was 2-0. Dallas needed just one more map. And we highlighted, coming into Oasis, we could see the bar battle, Hydration versus Seagull. Where was Hydration?
Where was he indeed? I mean, this is one of the players that we highlighted that was going to be the turning point for Gladiators, and instead they chose to go a completely different route entirely with the Asher and Surefour DPS duo. Now, we had our arguments about Asher a little bit earlier on in the pre-show. Personally, I believe he can be very inconsistent at times, and it was honestly a big reason why Dallas kind of just sort of rolled over it. But to skirt past that, it wasn't just that. It was actually Dallas getting quite lucky, in my opinion, with the maps that they were playing today, because one of their weakest compositions that they play is Coco on the Winston, and we didn't really see too much of that because the maps really favor just Orisa comps today.
And on top of that, the fact that you get the Orisa, it means that they're actually taking a page out of the New York Excel for the control, or City Center rather. You have the Orisa and Hog, you go around the right side, and then you just have Taimu going for whatever he wants, which really felt like the story of today. You have Taimu with such a different amount of confidence than any other day, and you just, you know what, do your thing, man. We believe in you. We'll be set up here, kind of like the way Pine plays, and it paid off.
There was a few moments where it shouldn't have paid off. You had Taimu hiding behind 6 people. The rest of his team just gets crushed on. But yet Dallas was able to win the majority of these fights. Let's talk about the issue you highlighted backstage, Brendan. That was the support ultimates. What was going wrong for the Gladiators? Because it always felt like Dallas had more charge.
Yeah, and I mentioned this in halftime as well, right? And it's that sort of that trade-off between Big Goose and Chips Hyen. This sort of face-off that they've got going on Mercy was, I saw a lot more mistakes coming out from Big Goose for the first 2 maps. They did actually clean it up towards the tail end of this, which is a big part as well why Gladiators ended up taking Dorado. But again, it is that support play that needs to be sort of on point against these teams, otherwise you're just going to get walked on.
One of the big issues we saw was Dallas was constantly soaking up some damage. Well, your healers, they're going to heal you up and get to those ults faster. That's what gave them the edge early in both of the control rounds. Let's talk about the 4th game, though, because it looked like this should be Dallas Fuel. Are they going to full hold the Gladiators? No, Gladiators take point A and B in overtime and finish point C with 22 seconds left. Early on, what were your concerns from the Gladiators and how did they right the ship?
So my early concerns were personally that the compositions they were running, they were trying to adapt, but they had poor execution in showing it. However, Dorado was a map that actually favors the sort of compositions that Gladiators like to run. They subbed Hydration back in, which is one of the key issues we had for Oasis, and you're also playing these sort of comfort comps, this hard dive compositions that actually just rolls over what Dallas like to run with the Orisa compositions.
Well, it's really the fact that you switch over Surefour eventually to the Tracer to try to make a bigger impact on the backline of the Dallas Fuel, and this is kind of what we thought would have happened, but as you highlighted, the map pool really just favored the Dallas field team way more this time around. This is just kind of the woes of the Gladiators summed up in a nutshell. This is probably one of the most wasteful primal rages we will ever get to see.
Now, despite the alt misplays potentially as we saw it, Gladiators full health. They didn't let Dallas take point A. Let's talk about what was working well for them on the attack. Was it strong play from the Gladiators, or was this just Dallas making way too many mistakes waiting to set up that Genji?
Again, I mentioned the compositions, and I think that plays a massive part in it, is the fact that Dallas seem only comfortable when Coco is on Orisa. When Coco's on the Winston, they seem to struggle quite a lot across the board, and this is not just in this one matchup. This has been throughout this league so far. XQC being suspended is a big part of this. If they had a decent Winston player, they'd be doing a lot better across the board, I feel, on these maps. That's a big issue for me, right? But in general, Gladiators did play very well in terms of their DPS. Surefour was on the Widowmaker in the first sort of section of the map. He was getting headshots. He was winning these 1v1 duels against Taimu very often and performing quite well for his team to really shine.
I don't think they did quite that well. And I actually, looking at the Gladiators, they do have way more restrictions when it comes to their hero pool than other teams. You have players like Bishu and Iremix that are basically on Winston and D.Va respectively 24/7. Bishu has like 1.5 minutes on another hero other than D.Va. Everything else is just D.Va. So there's not a whole lot of variation to just position your DPS in a better situation when you have your Junkrats, or maybe you can choose to go to the McCree. And so I think that's what's keeping a lot of the DPS down and forcing them to overexert themselves to have a spectacular result, which is typically what we see out of the Gladiators when they do well.
Coming out of this one, we now see the Gladiators are sitting at 4-6 with match record. Dallas improves now to 3-7 in stage 2. They get a fresh start, 10 new games. Who has the better edge moving forward here, guys? Do you think we're going to see Dallas or Gladiators go on a run?
It's hard to tell because I'm not sure if Gladiators are picking up more players. However, if they do end up picking up more players, Gladiators could definitely be having a better run for sure. However, on paper, you're screwing up your face.
How are they going to have a better run?
If they add better players.
Who?
Tanks, mainly. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to start bantering about it. I think that's enough, personally. But Dallas, on paper, with the pickups that they're already claiming to get, AKM coming back into the mix, and, you know, with the whole team willing to put in that grind, on paper, it is going to be Dallas taking the further run.
Yeah, Dallas seems like they're better poised, and if you have time with saying, I'm not even going to take a break, I'm going to just keep going, and as long as confidence is there, this is a team that we highlighted could actually have a higher ceiling than Gladiators, at least from what we've seen, because the Gladiators have just been so inconsistent. It's hard to pin down where they're going to land.
They can only go up from here. Well, 2 teams are now done for the day. We still have 4 more to play on our main stage, and coming up next, the Seoul Dynasty has to 4-0 the Shock to keep their playoff hopes alive. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be a big one.